Greetings Samurai, FiOth here, and in this vid we're gonna go in depth with soul matching in the blacksmith. So grab a cup of coffee and let's get to it. There are two types of soul matching. One is for weapons and one is for armor, of course. For the purposes of this vid, I'm gonna be clear with you guys. If you are using these functions before New Game Plus, you're just wasting your materials. Just hoard gold, like hoard millions of gold, dismantle all the yellows and all the blues and all the purples of low level, just gather materials, hoard everything, because in New Game Plus with the Divines, when you will finally be able to optimize your character, you are going to need them. So soul matching, what does it do? First and foremost, if you soul match a low level item, like for example a 150 melee item with another melee item that is of a higher level, as you can see at the top right of the screen, it will inherit the level of the item that is used as material. Like the GQ Mitsusada will be destroyed, it will disappear, and its level and one level of its plus sign will transfer to the bonfire spear. Why do I say one level? When you try to level up your plus sign from 0 to 10, you can only increase it one level at a time. So this GQ Mitsutada here has a +2, you can see it on the top left. If I move below to the GQ Mitsutada here, it has a +1, and the bonfire spear still gets a +1. So what you actually have to do is go level by level when you try to level up your plus sign. Why would you want to do that? Well, it increases the damage of the weapon quite substantially, and if you want to mix max, you really should do that. So the two basic functions of soul matching are inheriting the level of the material item and inheriting one level of +1 if you are of the same level as the material or lower than the material. That means that if you have a +1 item, let's give an example here. Let's take this Tokegemaru here, and we will use another +1 item. You see that Tokagemaru will become a +2. Now from +2 to get to +3, we will require to use a +2 item. Then we will require a +3 item, or of course a stronger item, but that would be a waste to get +4, and so on and so forth. All these functions are done through soul matching. Familiarity in this case doesn't matter. About familiarity, because it plays a very important role, I will be linking my vid in the description below. It has everything you might need when it comes to familiarity, and I also made a vid on tempering. I will also link that, so you will know how to go and optimize your gear whilst also leveling up. So the first deal has to do with the level and with the plus sign. That's pretty much clear. Now there are other more intricate mechanics in here, specifically inheriting perks and transferring perks. Those are two very important and very different functions. So as you can see, this GQ Mitsutada here has mid-attack key consumption. Okay, when I use it as material, nothing happens on the right. Nothing happens on the right for two reasons. There is another common melee key consumption on my Tokagemaru. It is the melee key consumption critical, and you can never have two of the same or samey function perks on one weapon. You might have specific high or mid or low, but not general melee key consumption twice. So those two perks would clash anyway. If though my material was something totally different, we're gonna get a weapon here that has no transferable perks, like this Tokagemaru, and we're gonna try to fuse it with, let's say, my seething dragon, my main seething dragon. If I soul match them now, you see that my mid attack break will be transferred from my seething dragon to Tokagemaru. That is because Tokagemaru has nothing related to break. It's high attack key consumption, melee key consumption, attack bonus stamina and grapple damage, so this can be transferred and my seething dragon will be destroyed. So as you probably understand, the factor in play here is twofold. One is our perks should not be clashing. The second is our material weapon, that's the weapon that will be destroyed, must have full familiarity, 999 out of 999. That's really important, and it's kinda tiresome because every time you want to transfer something, you'll have to wear all your shit and go out and start killing stuff, so you will increase the familiarity of them. There are two items that can help you in this endeavor, and they will help you greatly. I'm gonna show them to you just for a sec here. For weapons, you can use whetstones that are very readily available, like you get whetstones all the time, and the blacksmith also sells them quite regularly. For armor though, you need glue. Glue is rarer than whetstone, it's of the blue tier anyway. Crafting it is very expensive and getting it is very random. So for armor especially, you will always have to wear your armor, the armor that you are not gonna use, and you just have to get the perks and put it into something else by going out to the wild and fighting enemies and increasing familiarity. Now, as I said in the beginning of the vid, there are two functions when moving perks around. One function is transferring and the other is inheriting, and inheriting was not available in Neo 1. So I'm gonna find one item with a transferable perk here. Okay, as you can see here, this is one of the perks, and this is the symbol that's attached to it, and lets us know that it is an inheritable perk. Now, this orange cube, let's say this rectangular thing with the arrow on the left, means that this perk can be transferred to another item, and it will not clash with another transferred item that has the square to square symbol, this one left of the projectile damage taken. So if we ever try to move a perk of this kind to another armor piece, the perk on the material piece, if we have high familiarity, will be transferred to the other piece of gear and overwrite the transferable effect on that piece of gear. I know it's kind of confusing, but you'll get the hang of it. If you see white square pointing to a square and you have one such effect on your piece of gear already, and your material has max familiarity, the material perk will override the perk on your main item. The difference with this symbol is that this will not overwrite a square to square perk. It goes into the new item, it loses its property of inheriting and becomes a standard perk. Like you see on Mew Magic Power, Key, Elixir Efficiency, it will be just like those. This is a great boon that benefits us in a multitude of ways. First and foremost, the new perk is a standard perk that can be tempered. meaning we can roll the dice and try to get something we want. Second, any piece of gear is now viable to be optimized. That means that if you get a piece of gear that is divine and has stuff you want on it, and you wouldn't wanna just throw it away, but it is one lacking 4 standard perks. As you see here, we have the static perk, the enhanced Kodama blessing, that is on all Kodama bowls and cannot be changed, and then we should have 4 perks below that, and then a possible transferable perk below those. But here we are 1 perk short. That means that if we take one of the perks out of the equation, we have a suboptimal item because we're lacking a perk here. But this is not the case in Neo 2 anymore. As long as we have orange squares, arrows pointing to squares, like these kinds of perks, available to be transferred to an item, even if the item has 3 perks, we can just keep transferring perks, installing them, and we can then have an item with a full perk pool. I'm gonna give you an example of all that by showing you my main set of armor here. As you can see, all my armor is full of perks, like from top to bottom. One of them is the set perk, the Onmyo Austerity, that cannot be changed, but the rest were either on the piece and I tempered them to perfection, or I inherited them, or I transferred when needed. You see, there is 1 transferred perk on each of these pieces. This perk can be overwritten by 1 of its kind if the material piece has maxed familiarity, but the attack you see on those boots, for example, well, boots cannot get attack unless it's inherited from a pair of gloves with an orange arrow pointing to an orange box. Okay, so we max the familiarity to transfer perks if we do not want to transfer perks and we do not want to overwrite our perks, but we just want, for example, to raise our level or raise our plus sign. We leave the item that's going to be destroyed without familiarity, so there is no chance of it overwriting anything else. So those are the main functions of soul matching. You get an item, you can transfer perks like this if you have an empty slot and overwrite in the future, or perks like this used to be, the orange arrow pointing to the orange box, and they will become standard perks, and then they can be tempered to anything you want that's available on that piece of armor. Per se, boots cannot get attack, but I can get this attack if I want and swap it and make it into something else. I'm gonna show you just for truth's sake. As you can see, I can change it, I can make it anything out of this pool of, well, crap here. Of course, I'm not gonna do that because it took me 1,000 hours to transfer attack to all my pieces, but you get my point. So, I hope all this was useful to you guys. Neo is a very complex game. Its blacksmith is one of the most intricate functions and what kept us playing in... Come on, woman. Jeez. And what kept us playing for so long in Neo 1 and will keep us playing in Neo 2, mix maxing, optimizing, and so on and so forth. So, any questions you might need to ask, leave them in the description below. I will also link related videos in the description and in the end of this vid, so you can find all the info you need. I am covering everything I can get my hands on in Neo 2. There will be a build coming and very viable general play vid in the near future, like in the next 48 hours, I suppose. So sub, like, and share if you like what you see here. And until next time, be well, stay frosty, and always strive for perfection. Cheers!